Hi again, Junior 6. Now it's time for our reader. Let's start by chapter 6. Actually, chapter 6 is to continue what we have started before. We said that the story is divided mainly into 3 different scenes, in which in the first one we have got the Duke and the Duchess and their love story, how the Duke is very much keen to get married in very short time. We've got Aegeus, the old gentleman or the old Athenian who needed his help for his daughter Hermia, who doesn't want to obey his orders at all. Then moving to the second scene, which is the group of craftsmen who really appreciate the fact that the Duke invited them for his wedding party. We see how they are trying to show as a kind of respect how they appreciated by acting a short play, despite of the fact that it's a tragedy and it's a wedding party. Moving to the third scene, we have seen how the group of fairies, how they have got disagreement between each other, the king Opryn and the queen Titania for the Indian boy, who both of them want to take him with him. The king wanted him to be a knight, and the queen wanted him to protect him, to take care of him, as she promised his mom before. Moving to this scene, we're going to see how the group of craftsmen in the woods are trying to show their appreciation by having rehearsals. However, we said before that they were not professional actors at all. So that's why we are going to see the comedy in all what they are doing to have the rehearsals. Look here, I have summed up all the chapter in point form so that we can have it easier. The first point is that the craftsmen rehearsed their play on a small hill. They chose a small hill to be like an ideal stage for them, and they hung colorful lanterns from trees to illuminate their performance area and turned some nearby bushes into a dressing room. Now they need a place so that they can have rehearsals. So we said that they chose the woods so that they will be away from any kind of interruption. They have chosen a hill to act as an ideal stage. They hung some colorful lanterns from the trees to illuminate the performance area and turn some nearby bushes into dressing room so that they can wear their costumes. We said before that the group of craftsmen were not at all professional actors. That's why we find that they struggled to remember their lines and often walked on stage at the wrong time. Yet Peter Quince, who was he? We said before that he was the director of the play. He was pleased, saying, "Very good man." He was trying to encourage them as much as he can. The third point in this chapter is that Bottom, as usual, he has got important commentaries on the play. He said that on the scene of killing Pyramus, we will have him killing himself in front of the audience. And of course, that will frighten the ladies in the audience, and it's not suitable at all to be acted in the play. So he told Peter Quince that there should be a speech written over here. Moreover, one more speech should be written so that the ladies in the audience wouldn't be also afraid. You remember the line Snug? He is going to roar. Not only this scene wasn't suitable to be acted on the wedding party, but also having a lion roaring in front of the audience in the wedding party wouldn't be suitable, and it will frighten all the ladies over there. So that's why Peter Quince decided to write 2 speeches. So the first one will be before the death of Pyramus, saying that it's not a real death. And the second one is for Snug, so that the ladies wouldn't be afraid of the lion. Moving to point number 5 in the chapter. To show that the play would take place at night, they decided to have something very comic. They decided to have somebody going on stage, having a lantern, and he would act as if he is the character called Moonshine. And this wasn't the only thing that they are going to add it to the script. But also, do you remember when I told you that Pyramus and Thespian were not allowed to talk to each other? So the only thing that they could do was that to talk through a wall. And in this wall, they have got a hole through which they can talk together. So, as for the hole in the wall, Bottom suggested to have a man in plaster. And then he could make a circle with his finger, showing that there is a hole in that place. This hole, or this point by his finger, shows that he has got a hole in a wall. And that also adds to the comic part in the play they are acting. Point number 7 is that Puck was observing the craftsmen from a distance. So who was observing all what they were doing? It was Puck. He was standing away from them. And he couldn't believe what the group of craftsmen were saying. And he said to himself that it was the most ridiculous thing I had ever seen. In fact, this is an important quotation that usually comes in commentary questions. So when we tell you, who said that the most ridiculous thing he had ever seen, or I had ever seen, this phrase was said by Puck, commenting on what the group of craftsmen were doing while having the rehearsals in the woods. Puck decided at this time to cast a spell on Bottom. He turned Bottom's head into a donkey-headed man. Of course, Bottom wasn't aware of this at all. It was all while he was waiting for his role, for his right time to go on stage and continue acting. So Bottom, unaware of the spell, he was greeted on stage with screams of terror. Everybody was shouting and screaming, and they were running here and there. They couldn't go, or they didn't know what to do. They thought him to be a monster. Imagine seeing a donkey-headed man in front of you. How would you feel? That's how they felt. They thought him to be a monster. Bottom thought for himself, because he was unaware of all what was going on, that they have all gone mad. And this also phrase usually comes in commentary questions, as we get to ask who has gone mad, and it was actually the group of craftsmen while having the rehearsals, seeing Bottom as a donkey-headed man and thinking him to be a ghost. Of course, who was sleeping at this time? It was Titania. She was sleeping in her cave after Oberon poured onto her eyes the love potion. If you can remember that, he was planning to take his revenge from her for disagreeing, or because she didn't agree to give him the Indian boy. So he decided to take his revenge by pouring the love potion onto her eyes so that she falls in love with any ridiculous creature. The screams of all the craftsmen woke her up. And when Titania laid eyes on the donkey-headed man, she immediately fell in love with him, saying, "Oh, oh, handsome mortal," as if she has seen a very beautiful, handsome, wise man, as she said later on, in front of her eyes. Bottom couldn't believe himself. In confusion, he said, "Good sense and love, they don't always go hand in hand." And that is also an important quotation, because she fell in love with a poor craftsman. She fell in love with a donkey-headed man. Titania believed that Bottom was wise and handsome. Titania asked her servants to follow all Bottom's orders. She told them, "He is your master now, and try to do whatever he will tell you." She refused to allow Bottom to leave. The fairies placed a wreath of flowers on Bottom's head and led him back to Titania's cave, obeying her orders, of course. Finally, Bottom, the poor craftsman, he was pleased with his good luck, to have a lot of servants, to be loved by the queen of fairies. So it was a great luck for him. In the end of the chapter, we can see how Puck was laughing, and he was laughing so hard that his sides began to hurt because of all what he has seen. Hope you have understood the chapter, and I want you now to listen to the answers of your reader booklet, page 9, and don't forget to answer the questions at the back of your reader, pages 78 and 79, from 1 to 4. Let's now move to our reader booklet, page 9, questions on chapter 6. What was Puck's opinion for the craftsman play? Puck believed that they were the most ridiculous thing he had ever seen. Why did the craftsman run off when Bottom returned on stage? Bottom went on stage after Puck cast a spell on him. He looked like the donkey-headed man. The craftsman thought him to be a monster, so they screamed and ran off the stage. How did Titania fall in love with donkey-headed Bottom? The screams of the craftsman woke Titania up when she arrived at the hill and laid eyes on the donkey-headed Bottom. The love potion took effect and she immediately fell in love with him. Question number 4. What trick did Puck play on Bottom? Puck cast a spell on Bottom and changed him into a donkey-headed man while he was waiting for his turn to go on stage. 5. What happened when Titania saw Bottom? Titania instantly fell in love with Bottom. Hope you've enjoyed our lesson today. Hope you will study all what we have taken today. Thank you, Junior 6.